I, 32, never could have imagined that I would find myself in the middle of such a tangled web of emotions and relationships. It all started when my best friend, Sarah, 30, and her husband, Mark, 34, decided to get a divorce. Sarah and I had been friends for over a decade, and I had always considered Mark to be like a brother to me. So when their marriage started to crumble, I naturally tried to be there for both of them as much as I could. The first conflict arose when Sarah confided in me about the reasons behind their decision to divorce. She felt like Mark was not paying enough attention to her, and she suspected that he might be having an affair. I listened to her patiently, offering my support and advice whenever she needed it. At the same time, Mark also reached out to me, seeking comfort and understanding during this difficult time. As their divorce proceedings continued, tensions between Sarah and Mark escalated, leading to heated arguments and emotional outbursts. I found myself caught in the middle, trying to navigate the fragile balance between my loyalty to Sarah and my friendship with Mark. It was a challenging and emotionally draining experience, but I was determined to be there for both of them no matter what. The fallout came unexpectedly one evening when Mark showed up at my doorstep with tears in his eyes. He confessed to me that he had developed feelings for me during this tumultuous time, and that he wanted to explore a romantic relationship with me. I was taken aback by his confession, but I couldn't deny the connection that had always existed between us. Despite my initial reservations, I found myself drawn to Mark in a way that I had never experienced before. I knew that pursuing a relationship with Mark would be a risky move, given the history between us and the delicate state of his relationship with Sarah. But the heart wants what it wants, and I couldn't ignore the strong feelings that were growing between us. I tried to rationalize my actions by telling myself that Sarah had already moved on and that Mark deserved to find happiness once again. The situation only became more complicated when Sarah found out about our budding romance. She was devastated and felt betrayed by both Mark and me. She accused us of conspiring behind her back and destroying her chance at a reconciliation with Mark. I tried to explain to her that our feelings had developed organically and that we never intended to hurt her. But Sarah was inconsolable, and our friendship quickly unraveled as a result. As the dust settled, I found myself grappling with guilt and uncertainty. I had never intended to come between Sarah and Mark, but my feelings for him were too strong to ignore. I knew that our relationship would always be tainted by the circumstances of its inception, but I couldn't bring myself to walk away from the love that we shared. Update: things took a turn for the worse when Sarah filed for divorce from Mark, citing our relationship as one of the reasons for their breakup. The legal battle that followed was long and bitter, with accusations flying back and forth between all parties involved. I was left feeling torn between my love for Mark and my guilt over the pain that I had caused Sarah. As the tension continued to mount, I couldn't help but wonder if I had made a mistake by following my heart. Was I the asshole for marrying my best friend's husband after their divorce? The question weighed heavily on my mind, and I knew that there were no easy answers to be found. Only time would tell how this tangled web of emotions and relationships would ultimately unravel. Despite the turmoil that surrounded us, Mark and I decided to move forward with our plans to get married. We knew that our relationship would always be clouded by the pain that we had caused Sarah, but we were determined to build a life together in spite of the obstacles in our way. Our wedding day was both joyous and bittersweet. As I walked down the aisle towards Mark, I couldn't shake the feeling of guilt that weighed heavy on my heart. I caught a glimpse of Sarah sitting in the back of the church, her eyes filled with a mixture of pain and betrayal. It was a stark reminder of the consequences of our actions, and I couldn't help but wonder if our happiness was worth the price that Sarah had paid. As the ceremony unfolded, I found myself plagued by doubts and insecurities. Was I truly doing the right thing by marrying my best friend's ex-husband? Would our love be enough to overcome the damage that we had inflicted on Sarah's life? These questions haunted me as I exchanged vows with Mark, knowing that our happiness came at the expense of someone we had once cared deeply for. Update: in the months that followed our wedding, tensions continued to run high between me, Mark, and Sarah. Despite my attempts to reach out to Sarah and mend our fractured friendship, she remained distant and cold towards me. The guilt that I felt over the pain that I had caused her never truly subsided, and I found myself grappling with the consequences of my actions on a daily basis. Meanwhile, Mark and I struggled to navigate the complexities of our new life together. The shadow of Sarah's presence loomed over us, casting a pall on our happiness that we couldn't shake. I began to question whether our love was strong enough to overcome the betrayal and hurt that had marred its beginnings. Conclusion. In the end, the fallout from my decision to marry my best friend's husband after their divorce left a trail of broken friendships and shattered trust in its wake. Sarah remained bitterly resentful towards both Mark and me, unable to forgive us for the pain that we had caused her. Meanwhile, the guilt that I carried over my actions weighed heavy on my conscience, casting a shadow over the love that we had fought so hard to build. Ultimately, both sides were left hating each other, with wounds that ran deep and could not easily be healed. The price of our love had been high, and in the end, it seemed that no amount of apologies or regrets could undo the damage that had been done. As I looked back on the decisions that had led me to this point, I couldn't help but wonder if the cost of following my heart had been too steep a price to pay. Only time would tell if the wounds that we had inflicted on each other would ever truly begin to heal.